In 2021, Kyle sold 575 units, resulting in over $227 million in sales. That's himself. That's like 10 sales a week. It's ridiculous.
200 and something million for one person is crazy. As a brokerage, that's crazy.
Best advice that I would give you is anything is possible. As corny as it sounds, they're all saying I can't do it, that I should have kept my job. I'm going to show them.
Welcome to Behind the Rise podcast, hosted by the Perrina Brothers. My name is Angelo, and I'm joined by my brothers and business partners, Lucho and Valentino. On this show, we will speak to successful local, national, and global entrepreneurs, as well as discuss lessons we've learned in our 15-year career building a 9-figure organization. We are in the middle of our journey now and want to share with you all the wins, losses, and lessons learned behind the rise. All right, everybody. Today we got a special guest in front of ours, Kyle Seyboth. I'm going to give you a little bit of a little background here on Kyle. He's the broker owner of Century 21 Limitless and affiliated offices. Kyle Seyboth is one of the most trusted and top selling realtors in Rhode Island. Wait till you hear these stats. First of all, he has 275 agents on his team. He's number one realtor nationwide by Wall Street Journal in real estate trends in 2019. He was also nominated top 10 national real estate producers by Wall Street Journal in real trends from 4 years in a row from 2018 to 2020. Kyle was recognized as a top realtor for Keller Williams from 2016 to 19 and Rhode Island's Housing Realtor of the Year in 2022. All right, listen to these numbers. Kyle himself sold 448 units, resulting in over $179 million in sales. And that was in what year? That was
Last year.
That was 2022. 2022. In 2021, Kyle sold 575 units, resulting in over $227 million in sales. That's himself. That's like 10 sales a week.
Right.
It's ridiculous. In his brokerage, did over $800 million in sales. Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, this guy is an animal. He's a beast, and we're excited to learn a little bit about his story, get to know him a little bit. So, all right, Kyle.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
If you're a real estate guy and you understand what we just said in the stats, those stats are absolutely out of control. 200 and something million for one person is crazy. As a brokerage, that's crazy. For one person, that's insane. So I'm excited to kind of hear how you got all that stuff going.
Yeah. All right. So Kyle, you're a Rhode Island guy.
Rhode Island guy, yeah.
Born and bred?
Mm-hmm.
So you went to high school. Where'd you grow up?
Went to high school, Pawtucket, Rhode Island, St. Ray's, Catholic school, very diversified athlete, right? Played high school basketball, played college basketball. That was just all I knew. Mm-hmm. Knew nothing else. Worked like little BS jobs, make a couple $100 here and there, was happy, just wanted to play ball. Yeah. Right? That was it. Play basketball and whatever. Just have fun.
Yep.
Got out of high school, went to college, followed kind of the same path we were talking about with you guys, right? Parents were like, oh my God, you got to go to college. We didn't go. No one we know went. That's it. That's the ticket. That's the golden ticket. Went to college, got a 4-year degree in accounting, hated every second of it. Still played basketball, so that's all I cared about, right? Wasn't really paying attention to the rest. Got out of college, then worked in Boston in finance for a company called State Street or Investors Bank and Trust, which was then State Street. They merged or whatever. And I'll never forget, like, I knew I didn't belong because number one, it was so boring for me. I hated every minute of it. And I would watch the clock and it was like 9:01, 9:02. I'm like, this is brutal. How can somebody do this for 40 years? Yeah. But I didn't come from that background, right? So the first time I knew, I was like, this is not going to be it. You know those doors that go around in a circle?
Yep. And
this is just me not understanding. I'm not from that's so I'm going into the office on the first day behind some guy, and I get in the same thing as him. You know how you get
It's always so awkward.
So, all right, it gets better. My heel hits the back.
Oh, shit.
It smashes the dude right in the face. So I'm like, my bad, bro. I don't know. I didn't know. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, my bad. And I was like, yeah, this just is not for me. Again, making like $25,000 a year. Just going to work, going home every day, wanting to commit suicide. Like, I hated it. I couldn't stand it. Took the train from Providence to Boston, 2-hour commute back and forth. I did that for like 10 years though. And I job hopped for a long time. So probably from 21 to 31 in Boston, I worked. and I would job hop between accounting companies or finance companies and made it up to making like probably 75, 80 grand a year. But for my family, that was a lot. They didn't know, right?
Yeah.
So that was like a lot of money. That was a good amount. And then came back to Rhode Island. That's when it changed. I got my real estate license and kind of started doing that part time.
And what made you do that?
So I couldn't live. I was just it was so tight, right? So the monthly amount I was living by, I was like, okay, I can go out to eat on Friday and spend $29 at 99 for dinner. But after that $29 is done on Friday, Saturday and Sunday, I got to eat at home. And I was like, if I get this real estate license, I don't have a lot of capital up front. If I sell one more house a year, that'll be $5 grand. If I divide that over 12 months, perfect. That's whatever 100 a month. I'm good. That's going to give me an extra 100 a week that I can live off of. So I started it just to have an extra couple bucks, or if I want to go on vacation, I had enough money to do that. So I was like, this is perfect. Let me do that. Right. So the problem was I'm competitive as all hell. So when you do something that's sales capacity and you're competitive, that's when it took off and it went on steroids.
Yeah.
So year one, I did 7 transactions, which honestly is not a lot. Is like normal. If you talk to 100 realtors, like a lot of them did 7 to 5 in their first year. So there's nothing special.
Yeah. And then what, you just got obsessed?
So I started doing, I went 7, then I did 14. I got obsessed when I made the scoreboard. So I was at Keller Williams and I didn't realize they were keeping track of how many sales you did. They started sending out like this monthly or a quarterly report showing how many sales. And there was one year where I was number 1 in New England. And I was like, oh shit, they're counting. And I was like, I want to see who's number 1 in the country. Then I became obsessed. And I was like, I'm going to be that person. I'm beating them. I don't care. Whatever it takes, I'm beating this person to become number 1. And I did it. I became number 1 at Keller Williams from 2016 to 2019. And then I just...
In the country. Wow.
So I was number 1 there 4 years in a row.
Wow.
So hang on, rewind a little bit. At what point, so you just started part-time. You said you were doing 7 deals in your first year. At what point did you transition from leave your full-time job and make the leap?
After I did 191. So a unit is a size. So
you were doing 100.
I was working in Providence. I was working in Providence for a Washington Trust, right? I actually just saw one of my fellow colleagues this past week. He reminded me of the story. I'm working in Providence. I did 191 transactions. So that's like one house is one transaction side, just so you understand the math.
Oh, I see.
Providence Business News, which is like, you must have something up this way, but it's like the business newspaper online and in publication that everybody pays attention to. I was on the front page for real estate. My company's like, what the heck is this?
Oh, they didn't even know.
I had no idea.
Oh, wow.
They're like, what do you mean you do real estate? I'm like, yeah, I kind of do it part-time. They're like, buddy, you're on the front page in Providence Business News talking about real estate's the best investment people can make. You're working for an investment firm. Like, this doesn't make any sense. They gave me a week to make a decision.
Wow.
So I was like, shoot, man. Like, I like the benefits. I like the stability. But I made $750,000 in real estate and I make $100,000 with you. I'm kind of going to have to go. I'm going to have to do this. And the reason it was so hard is my family was like, you're making this is the biggest mistake you'll ever make.
Really?
Wow.
They were like, this is the biggest mistake. You're giving up stability. Maybe you got lucky. Like, maybe you just had a good run. The market was really good. But what happens when you can't sell another house? And I'm just like, shoot, what happens when I can't sell? Like, I started doubles. I'm like thinking, I'm like, oh, what happens if I can't sell another house? Like, what am I going to do? And for first time, I was just like, you know what? I'm doing it. Just going to do it. And I was scared as hell when I made the move because, you're used to a salary. You're used to this. You're used to that. You're used to benefits. You don't have to worry about anything. You go in, you get paid. And I made it, and I'm the best thing I ever did. Best move was at that point. That's when I made the change. So that was like year 6. So I did 6 years part-time. And then from then on out, I was full-time.
Wow. So then you just went all the fuck in. I mean, dude, in order for to do 100.
Can you swear on this thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I was trying to temper that shit back.
Yeah.
I went all the motherfucking. I went so far in this motherfucker because then it was do or die.
Right.
Now it's not. So then I had the chip on my shoulder.
Right.
The whole time I'm like, all right, they don't think I can do this shit. They don't think I can do it. Like they're all saying I can't do it, that I should have kept my job. I'm going to show them.
Yep.
I'm going to show them that I can do this shit. And watch where I'm going to be.
Wow.
And like, that's like how I've always been. So when I played basketball, right? wasn't the tallest, wasn't the most athletic. I had to find something I was really good at and then just crush it and just practice the hell out of that until I got really, really good and then better and better and better. So it was the same thing.
Yeah. Now, what was like your secret sauce? Like what, like your transaction count so high, like, you know, you can work hard, but like really, what was it? Like,
I think it was my biggest secret sauce is relatability. I could relate to a 20-year-old Spanish guy or a 70-year-old white guy from the suburbs. Yeah. And I think that's been the whole thing for me from the beginning, is that I treat everyone with respect and I give everyone the attention they need. And that's been the biggest. Like, I took every single phone call, every text, every email, and I got back to everyone. Like, when you're doing 500 something transactions, that doesn't count how many fall apart.
Right.
That was in the thousands.
Right.
Like how many people and deals per year you're dealing with, right? So you're dealing with people every single day. That's problems and solutions. I had to fix problems like this though. I got to fix the problem and move on.
Right.
I can't dwell on it. I can't get sad about it. I can't get upset. I fix it and move on. Fix it and move on.
Wow. I mean, dude, just the sheer number of
volume,
the conversations just for one transaction, you know. It depends on which side you're on, the buyer or seller. If you're selling a house and then, you know, doing on the buying side too, like all the negotiating, the realtors you got to deal with, you know, for the P&S, the inspections, like all that shit going up to it. It's just a sheer number. How do you even keep track of who you're talking to?
So what I did along the way is I delegated the hell out of anything that was non-income producing. So I said the only way that this works is if I come up with a system that works to produce the most amount of income possible and provide the best service possible. So I started to add support. So I basically started with a scheduler. I never set my schedule. This one person sets up every appointment. So if you're a buyer, you deal with her and she sets the appointments. I don't have to track down and do any of that. Then I hired an admin. They do all my paperwork. Then I hired a photographer. They do all the photography. Then I hired another admin. Then I hired a transaction coordinator. Then I hired a driver. Then so every step of the way that there was a kink, I was like, I need to hire someone because I can't do that anymore. For me to do more, I got to hire someone. I can't keep doing all this. It's not going to make sense. And then to keep the service at that level, I had to make sure that people were getting back to the clients, that I was getting back to the clients. So we had to have enough staff.
Right. You see what a common thread that is?
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Every successful person we've talked to does exactly. They focus their time on what is going to be income producing, and they delegate the rest. Right. And you need that team to move forward. But in order to get from, you know, where you started to where you are, it's physically impossible to do it alone. You couldn't. You could not.
And now what I'm seeing now is I'm transitioning to other stuff. So real estate's still my bread and butter. That's still the thing that I have a passion for, selling and buying houses. But now, like every hour in the day, I might triple book and I just pick the best possible return on my hour. So I look at that hour and I say, okay, I got to delegate this and this and I'll take that. Okay, delegate this and this and I'll take that. Right? So now it's looking at it from a bigger perspective and saying, where am I going in the future? And how do I get to the point where now, if I got hit by a bus, the real estate sales goes to zero. I want to get rid of that entire theory where if I get hit by a bus, I've got this conglomerate that I've built that I basically run from the top, but if I get hit, someone else can run it.
Right.
And they can now take these businesses and manage them versus me just being the one humping the pavement out there, selling and buying, selling and buying, selling and buying.
Right.
I got 11 streams of income that don't need me, but I can help make them really good. So while I'm here, let me do what I do.
Yeah. I love that. So talk to me about some of the other, okay, so, you know, it sounds like you're like vertically integrated in other businesses that surround around real estate, right?
So that was the first key so we started, we have a hard money division, which lends money to investors that are looking to buy investment properties or buy and flip, right? That was started with our own capital. Very easy transition, right? So think about it. Investor comes along. They already use me to sell their property.
Yeah.
Now they borrow from me. They then have to use our insurance company that helps insure the property so we're protected on the loan. And then they use our title company to close. So we decided to have an insurance company that we partnered with. We joint ventured with them.
Yep.
And then we started a joint venture with a title firm. And I think the title firm is even better because we can get them on. They come in, they do the loan docs with our firm.
Yep.
They then close with the firm. And then when they sell, they use them to sell.
Oh, wow.
So it's like you control the entire asset. It's your money that's at risk.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's smart. The vertical integration is.
And we started a mortgage company. So we did a joint venture with a mortgage company as well. So now every client that comes through the door, you have the ability with mortgage, title, real estate, every component of a transaction.
Right. So every step along the way, you're touching it.
You have to.
Yeah.
Just gives you more opportunities.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a unique thing. I mean, not everyone does that.
Not many people think like that. But it gets back to my big picture, which is to eliminate the bus theory. And that keeps coming in my mind. Like you have to, every step I do going forward needs to slowly eliminate that theory.
Right.
That if I got hit, this goes to zero.
I see.
I do not want that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
What made you pick Century 21?
So I was at Keller Williams. The problem with Keller Williams is they have locations that are already gobbled up. You can't open new ones. So the territory's taken. You can't go into them. So I had to look at other firms that had names that I could start. Rhode Island had like no presence of Century 21. They did a major rebrand, and they basically allow me to run it any way I want. So I can go all up and down the East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, doesn't matter. I can open them throughout the country. And that's
cool.
That's the goal now, is to run with autonomy, to do it. We run so different from every other Century 21, but that's why I enjoy it. I don't have to follow their script or their model. I do whatever I want. I pay them their royalty fee, and I do what I need to do.
Wow. So is the plan to open other markets, or?
So we're looking at Florida. We've got a LOI out to a company in Destin. Looks like that's going to happen. We have a couple in Mass right now. I told you we're working with a group right now that's going to help, I think, really take a stranglehold of the Mass market. We have one office in Connecticut, and we want to go up and down that East Coast.
Nice.
I love Florida. I think the transition between the Northeast realtor market to the Florida market is amazing, because there's so many people from the Northeast shooting down to Florida looking for like a trusted person from the Northeast. You know what I mean? To help.
I mean, there's a lot of markets along the way.
Of course.
But that's an easy one, because everybody from Rhode Island wants to go to Florida.
Yeah.
They want to get out. Once they get to 60-year-olds, they want to leave and go to Florida. Everyone from Boston wants to go to Florida.
Yeah.
So having
we
that.
We want to go now. Never mind.
We want to go.
I'm ready to go tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I got 2 kids, 9 and 7. I can't leave those motherfuckers. I got to stay here and help them out. But at the end of the day, once they're 19 and 17, my ass is gone. I'm out of here. And that gets back to that theory of having companies that run on their own.
Right.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think Florida that's the ultimate goal. That's where I like. That's where I want to be. I hate the weather. I hate this cold. I can't stand it.
I know.
No, I'm with you.
We're the same way.
So, all right. So another stat that 275 agents you have with you in your brokerage, right? So, like how does it work to join your brokerage? Like, are you training them? Like, what's that like?
So the brokerage kind of transformed on its own. So a lot of people just came over to be part of what I was doing, right? So we started Century 21 with just me and like 5 other people. We only started in August of 21. So we've only been around less than 2 years.
You're shitting me.
What happens is, by leading by example, a lot of folks followed. They see I'm out there. They see I'm grinding. I do my thing on social media. I do my thing on Instagram. So for them to see like the leaders doing the same thing we're doing, I think it carries a lot of weight.
Yep.
I do coaching. I do training. We have teams. We have leads. We have all these different programs. I basically took everything that other brokers are lacking and implemented it into the brokerage.
Yeah.
So you can go... I mean, I might be biased, but I don't think you can go anywhere else and get more. We give the absolute most you can get as an agent.
Wow.
Depending if you want to use it, that's on you.
Yep.
So how do you like the Rhode Island market as a whole? Like, where are the gaps of investment? Where do you see the most transactions happening?
So I like the market because it's the easiest to move around in. And what I mean by that is I can get from one side of the state to the other side of the state in 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
So from my standpoint, that makes a ton of sense. That's how I can do so many transactions. I don't have to drive from here for an hour. I can do 10 appointments within a 30-minute radius.
Yeah.
Within a 2-mile radius, right? So I think Rhode Island is affordable as Boston is becoming unaffordable. More people start to move down 95, down 495, and so on. So I found there's been a lot of migration to Rhode Island, and as commuting becomes, I think it's going to come back into play at some point, right? The COVID thing pushed people back to home. But I know running a business, like, I don't want my people at home.
Yeah.
I'm not paying you to work from home. I'm paying your ass to be in the office so I watch what you're doing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, home, you're in your underpants sitting down not doing anything.
Right,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, at least dress, come into the office.
Right.
Because I'm here.
Yeah, I actually watched this thing about, they said that people who are pushing remote work is the biggest threat to jobs in the US than anything, than like any other technology. Because if I'm able to manage you from home, why can't I manage you if you're in India and pay you fucking a third of what I pay
it's
you here?
exposing people.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm an employee, I'm getting exposed right now.
Exactly.
Number one, it's exposing I don't really need you.
Right.
A lot of these positions you don't really need. And number two, the management role, who you managing? There's nobody in the office.
Exactly.
Like, what do you manage? So, and they get paid a lot of money, so there's a lot of fluff.
Right.
So I think people should be more afraid of the remote working.
Exactly. They need to look at it that way, where it's a threat. Like all of a sudden, I could pay somebody in a different country if to do your job. Why do I get to pay you the wage like?
And they won't complain.
Exactly.
And they're gonna do what they're told, and they're not worried about lunch, and they're not worried about birthday cakes, and they're not worried like they're worried about just working. They go in and they grind,
and they care about losing the job. So
Correct.
we have some VAs that are overseas. The best. They respond. They care so much about everything they're doing.
The problem I have with my VAs, I don't know if you guys have it. There's like a disconnect though. They can't understand. They just don't have a full understanding of how we operate here sometimes. So you can only give them very, very basic tasks to do.
Yeah.
Once you go off of the reservation and give them a little bit harder, it gets crazy.
Right.
It's like wacky.
Where are your VAs?
Philippines. We've got 3 of them.
Yeah.
Philippines, I think. Or I don't know where they are.
So we have 3.
I told one of them, she ever made a mistake, I'm going to bury her in the Baltic Sea. So hopefully she lives near the Baltic Sea. She screwed something up so bad, I went ballistic on her. Because it just made no sense. But to them, they don't know any different. It would be like sending, let's say you're in wherever we are now,
Middleton, yeah.
Middleton. It would be like, all right, Middleton to Rhode Island, and you got to be there in 15 minutes. Like, it was just dumb stuff that. And I'm like, that
Use Google Maps, will you?
Yeah, they don't even like think.
Right.
So they like set things up and outside of that. But yeah, the VAs have been definitely helpful.
Yeah. So we have some that are in Brazil. We like Brazil because the time difference is only an hour.
The other thing, why 6 hours? One of our ladies, like, so she's working at like 2 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's not my problem.
Right, exactly.
Right. But and their natural working time is like, what is it, like 7 to like 8 p.m. at night or something?
Yeah, they do
like
12-hour like days.
Yeah, like their hours are a little more longer during the day.
Yeah, exactly. And then we found this program called Loom. Have you ever used Loom? So Loom, you can record yourself as you're recording the screen and do like full trainings with them.
Oh, that's nice.
And then they watch it and they can see like everything.
That's nice.
So when you're creating like a
it's like it's in
SOP
person
or whatever, you can really like, and you can say like, okay, if this happens, do this. If that happens,
that's nice.
So in your case, you could say, okay, before you set the appointment, check Google Maps, go here.
Right.
So since we did that, it's like changed everything.
That's my biggest struggle though.
Yeah.
Is that SOP stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you have to slow down to put it in place.
Correct.
And I struggle slowing down. So like the biggest thing that I get from my staff is like, you move way too fast and you leave us to pick up the pieces, and we're still picking up piece number 1 and you're on piece number 20.
Yeah.
Right.
So like, you got to slow down. You're way too fast for us. So that's the one struggle that I think I face the most is how do I not slow down, but yet at the same time, how do we get to the point where they can feel comfortable enough to pick up the pieces and provide the support we need?
Yeah. So, I mean, we've dealt with that too all the time. And it's like, what we try to do is look at what the core pieces are that are like, what's breaking, and then focus on creating an SOP for that, like if it's your scheduling or whatever, like just have somebody, whoever's doing that job right now, have them write it out. Like,
do you have a personal assistant? I feel like you should.
Kind of, sort, not a 100% one. I've got a few of them that like act as one at the end of the day, right? So what
like
happens? Yeah, like they all kind of roll up into it, but I don't have a specific one yet. I'm gonna need one as we grow and as I go to kind of that next level of what I envision. I'm definitely gonna need one. It's hard to find staff that'll stay though,
it is.
and the problem with that position is they need to be super loyal and trustworthy because they know everything. Because I've had people that know everything, and that comes back to bite you in the ass, man.
100%.
Like there's been people like the driver. So my driver knows fucking everything. I'm talking everything.
Yeah.
right.
Dude, everything.
Right. Where the bodies are buried.
I'm saying everything,
Yeah.
whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
And what happens is when you get to the position, you need to get rid of the driver. Now it's like, oh yeah, I know everything.
Right.
So you still want to fire me?
Yeah.
Right.
That's a tough position to be in. And again, it's not that anything's bad. It's just like, I know everything.
Right.
I know how you operate. I know your skills. I know your clients. I know everything.
Yeah, you have no idea what they're thinking.
Right.
You don't know. You don't know.
Their
You
hidden
think you know,
agenda.
but you don't know. Exactly.
Yeah, the driver.
Right. I had an admin who was getting recruited by, this was years ago, 5 years ago, getting recruited by a competitor of mine. The competitor offered her a crazy salary, but part of the stipulation was she had to bring my entire database over, steal the Excel file, take it, give it to him so he could call all my clients.
You're shit, man.
Swear.
That's like
Scumbag.
That's legit
That's
theft.
like illegal.
Yeah.
Swear. And I told, I said, go. And I'll give you this. I'll give you the file. I'll email it to him right now. I'm not worried
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Like, I know who I am. I know
Right.
what I got going on. Like, but you're gonna stoop to that level. Like, you can have it.
Yeah,
Like,
if
it's
you're
all
that
yours.
big of a loser.
It's all yours.
Yeah,
exactly.
no,
I'm not
that's
worried.
not a winning. That guy's gonna lose.
Right.
You can have it. And you're
Well,
still
he
gonna
did.
lose.
The funny thing is, looking forward, they're not even in business anymore.
Exactly.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
they're not even in business.
There you go.
I mean, that's a losing,
Exactly.
loser mentality.
No
Right.
one ever like gets that file, and that's the reason.
Yeah,
why
all of a sudden they blew up.
Not
That
for
was the
not,
jump off point.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Right.
like that
but
was
that's
the
that's that binary mentality that, like, for me to win, you got to lose. And you'd be
Yeah.
surprised how many people think like that.
big time.
right.
Dude, it's wild.
Right.
I can't tell you how many people I come across. They're like hating on me, want me to lose. I'm like, if I win or lose, has zero impact on your life.
Exactly.
Right.
Like, we can all win. All four, we could all sell real estate, and
Exactly.
all four of us could be doing 500 deals a year, and we'd be fine.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be even crossing each other's paths. We'd be all good.
Right. So to your point, you brought up the stat earlier, right? With the
Right.
numbers that you produce, right? Let's take a guess. Well, we know the answer now, but
Yeah.
what the percent of the Rhode Island market was, right? So we guessed. He asked us, like, guess what the percentage was. We were like, I don't know, dude, 800 million. You were doing like fucking 80% of the
Right,
market.
Rhode Island's a small state.
Rhode Island's a small state. The actual percentage is
So my sales alone, take the brokerage out, we're 1% of the Rhode Island market. So think about that. So if one of the biggest pitches that people do against the brokerage is they're like, why would you go work for him when he's still selling? Because you're competing with him. When I hear that, I'm like, that's the loser mentality.
right.
Number one, you don't even know the facts because I'm 1%. There's 99% more. So if that 1% scares you, you're right. You shouldn't be here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's not what we want. I don't want people that are worried that I'm going to take, like, you were going to go for that same 1% that I was going to get. Like, that's craziness.
Right,
The hell
right.
are you talking about?
Right.
So that's an important factor, that I'm only 1% of the whole market. Right? There's plenty left for it. There's abundance.
Right.
Right? It's that abundance theory, not scarcity.
Exactly. The abundance mentality. Yeah,
The
that's
fact
so.
that you even have a whole percentage though is pretty cool.
yeah, that is
Of
pretty
an
sick.
entire, there's two ways to look at that.
It's good.
Yeah,
You're, on
yeah.
the, you're actually on the scale of percentage.
Yeah.
Right. I'm in the right.
Yeah.
And that's just me alone. Right? So
Yeah.
no one else is
One individual. and
correct. One
There's
individual.
two ways to look at that
Right.
one. You know.
Where was it? Because you were number one at Century 21. You
I
as
was
a-
one at Keller Williams for 4 years. I've been one at Century 21 since I've been there.
So who's two? Like how far?
Oh, it's not even close. Like when I was at KW, when I did 500 whatever, number two was like 180. So there was like a 300 side
Wow.
gap between one and two.
Holy shit, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a big gap. I mean, because you got to be crazy. You gotta be insane to go and do that many transactions.
Yeah, I mean,
you certifiably have to be a crazy person.
Right. That's honestly what. When I, that's
You do. You have to be obsessed. Crazily, you have to be like Kobe type obsessed.
Yes.
Kobe or Jordan obsessed to get to that level.
Yes, that's
And
unbelievable.
forget anything else that went on.
Yeah.
You can't pay attention to shit else. You
Right.
can't. Those years when I was doing that without as much staff as I have now my personal life is way better. I got way more time because I would have never been able to be here. Drive 3 hours on a Saturday, no freaking way.
Right.
But I've been able to find help and support and other things that help me take time.
Right.
But at that time when I was just humping the sales, dude, I was going 18 hours a day,
Right.
sleeping 4, 18 next day, sleeping 4. I would go, my kids were little, I would go 7 days. I probably saw them for a half hour.
Right.
Now, I take them to school 4 days a week. I coach all their sports. I've never missed a game. I'm at everything. I'm there with them. We're practicing. This morning we had practice. Like, I'm there more than every other parent. And I'm doing 10 times more work than they're doing.
Wow.
Because I've been able to figure out that my kids are the first thing I schedule every day. So my kids go on the schedule and I book around it. See what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
they're my most important client, right? My kids are number one, significant other number two, and then everything else comes after that.
Yeah,
Wow. That's great.
that's a
advice,
key
yeah.
point.
I was reading this thing the other day that said like one of the top traits of like successful people, and one of them was, I actually think I shared that yesterday, and one of them was that you have complete control over your schedule and your time. Right.
Right.
And that you brought that up a couple times, right? So like give us like some tactics. So like day before, you looking at what you have the next day and saying like, all right.
3 days. I'm always 3 days ahead.
Okay.
I meet with my scheduler on a Monday for Wednesday. Like I'm Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're always, we have a habit every morning, every 9 o'clock in the morning, she and I go over the schedule for the next 3 days. We make the adjustments for that day and the 2 days going forward. Then we'll do Tuesday for Tuesday and Wednesday, Thursday. Then Wednesday for Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh, I see.
So we're always ahead to make sure that we're not coming to that day and there's a shock. There's a surprise. So I can make a change if I need to make a change. And we're ahead of it with the client.
So you'll tell her like, I'm taking my kid to school at 8. Right.
That's already in there. She knows that.
So
we can't book over that.
Right.
Anytime is and it's color coded. So my kids are one color. My appointments are one color. My calls are one color.
Yeah.
Everything has a specific color.
I see.
And they know like what can't be booked over.
Right.
And what can.
Yeah, that's awesome. Right. So if you have somebody like, when we reached out to you to say, hey, we wanted to meet, how'd you do it? You just put it in the calendar?
No, I sent the email you sent to me to Jen, and I was like, I don't know where this place is. I don't know what this even says. I'm not reading any of this stuff. You guys figure it out and just tell me where I need to be.
I see.
So then they put it in the calendar. They'll put in drive time.
Yeah.
So I knew how far it was. So I had to leave at 9:30 to get here for 11.
Yeah.
Then the next one I have is at 2, so I can leave at 12:30. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like everything is scheduled. Everything was on the time.
What about even like date night or like with your friends on the schedule? Everything's on the schedule.
So yeah, basically. I mean, I know if I'm going away, it's scheduled in. Friends, I don't really have friends at this point. Like I have friends that are business friends.
Right.
I don't have like regular friends.
Right.
Because I can't relate to that.
Yeah.
It's just not a bad thing. It's just I can't relate to, like, I don't have an interest to go throw darts at a wall
Right.
or go play pool.
That's
like
what you talk about.
There's a lot
Yeah,
of people
you have
like
fun talking about business.
That's my thing.
like
Like we went to Miami. Like we just came back from Miami. Like I
Yeah.
would consider that friend personal time.
Right.
But we were really there trying to kind of kill two birds at one stone.
Yeah, and we
as
just talk business the whole time because that's what we enjoy.
Correct. We
That's
weren't like bullshitting about nonsense.
Exactly. We have the
It's-
same problem.
It's
Like
very difficult to relate to other people who don't have that
I can't do
mindset.
small talk about bullshit that doesn't matter. It literally, it's painful to have any small talk.
I would care less, and this sounds even, I don't care who the president is. I don't care who, like, I can't control that shit. I don't care who Prince Henry or Diane or whoever the hell those people are. Like, I don't give a fuck.
It's gonna happen no matter what.
Doesn't impact my
Yeah.
life, nor do
Yeah.
I care.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't care. Right? I can't worry about Total Magazine, People, online, none of that shit. Like, all that stuff, I don't know any. When the people
It's all
say
noise.
things,
It's all
yeah,
noise.
it's noise. When they just like, have you seen that? I'm like, bro, I haven't seen anything since 1995. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know.
So you don't watch the news, right?
Nope.
Yeah. So that's
At
something I
all
changed.
on purpose.
Yeah.
I don't watch it at all. I don't want to know. Let me just do what I do.
Right.
The rest of that's going to play the way that's going to play. I cannot control it.
Exactly.
Right? I cannot control it.
To that point, I suck at weddings. So I don't know about you guys. At weddings, when people just want to like sit and like small talk about like, what do your parents do?
when you throw like
Right.
10
I'm
beers
like,
in the
dude,
mix,
I don't
though,
know.
it's
Because I don't even drink.
yeah.
So I'm at
you're
fucking
wicked
weddings.
awkward.
I don't drink. So people try to talk to me. I'm just like, I don't know. Yesterday was a
Just
shit
leave
show
me
at
alone, yeah.
office.
Go
Like
to
my
another
brother,
table.
our brother's pissing me off. I don't fucking know.
But they don't
I'm the wrong one.
understand that. They don't understand that. So like, I'll give you, I can tell you guys this. So one of my goals is to buy a jet.
Mm-hmm.
My goal by January or February of next year is to have a jet in
go.
my name that I own, that I want to charter out and use when I want. My goal on top of that is to have the jet so I could take 1 weekend a month and just get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Right? That's the goal. Never thought in my life I would ever come even close to having that. Like, that sounds fucking insane to me. But I'm at a point where it seems obtainable.
Yeah.
And I need to make it happen. Because just for me, it's not about having a jet and taking a picture. No, for me, it's something that I never thought was possible. And it just proves again I can break through the ceiling.
Yeah.
Right? So that to me, but when I tell people that don't know, they look at me like, number one, he's bragging. I'm like, not fucking bragging,
Not
bro. I'm
really.
just telling you what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, you may want to go to the store and buy a turkey sandwich. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You know
No,
what I'm
that's
saying?
100% genuine. Like when I got to know you a little bit in Miami, I felt that 100%. Like there's no ego behind it.
No.
At first, I'm like trying to figure it out. Like, is that it? It's an ego? It's not. And it's just, there's something driving though. That was going to be my next question for you. Like, what's that driver that keeps, like you have a chip on your shoulder that you need to prove to yourself or whoever you need to prove it to? Like, what is that chip?
I think it's just like driving the fact that, so if you, any of you guys are athletes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you were never the best, And the best person, like everybody always sweated the best person.
Yeah.
Right? But you were always like that. You were good, but you were never great. And you couldn't get over that hump because of physical traits or whatever. You just were what you were. This is the chance for you to be the best at something and really like go out there, blow up, and be that guy. Like be the guy. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's the ability to kind of go through anything people told you couldn't do and just prove it wrong and just blow it out the water. And I think the other part of it is it's almost a mindset of anything's possible.
Yeah.
Anything, like when you get to the level when you can see anything is actually possible, fucking go get it, bro. Yeah. Otherwise, you're just living to die.
Right.
So I say all the time, you're either dying to live or living to die. Like, which one you going to pick? Yeah. You either let time pass or you're going to fucking go get it.
Yeah.
And then all my shit I do doesn't go well. I've had a pawn shop, which failed. Lost a ton of money on that. I've had a bunch of other businesses that I've invested in that had a cannabis business before I got these licenses. I got crushed on that business. I was paying a lobbyist for 2 years. We didn't even get the license. So like I've had failure, but I didn't cry about it. I kept it moving.
Right.
And now I just try to keep leveling the goals up. Yeah. But I probably won't even, the jet thing is just for me, like symbolic of anything is possible.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a serious.
And it's like, you know, it's a symbol that you fucking made it and you're proving everybody wrong. You're proving yourself right.
Right. And I think it levels you up.
100%.
Yeah.
I think it's instant level up.
Let's talk about that, Jet, because we have a similar, we've never said this, but like that's a goal that we have too. We don't have a date on it yet, so I don't really call it a goal yet because once you have a date on it, it's an actual goal. Right now, it's like a dream for us, you know? But let's run the numbers on that bitch, right? So how much is a jet? Like what's
between
a jet?
5 and 7 million? The ones I'm looking at.
5 and 7 million. So first of all, there's tax benefits to that, right?
Correct. Accelerated depreciation year one.
So you take you can take
full
a full
depreciation year one.
See, beautiful.
So that year, right off the rip, like you don't have to pay any taxes.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So what is it like? Is it like an investment? like
Brilliant.
What a fuck.
Lovely.
Love it.
So here's a jet to me. I think everything can relate to real estate. Here's how I look at a jet.
Yeah.
You buy it, you put 15% down. Anything 10 years or newer, you have to put 15% down on. Okay.
Okay.
Which is not bad. 10 to 15%. Cool. So you buy whatever, you can do the math. Then from there, if you get a company to manage it and charter it, at the end of the day, you can net between 30 and 50,000 a month on the jet. So take that and multiply it by 12. Let's call it 40. That's $500K a year on a jet, right? So now let's say you put down $1 million. In 3 years, you've made your $1 million plus back on your down payment. So it's like a multifamily. I'm buying a house. I'm renting it out. I'm making the spread. I take that spread, whatever I have left on the net, it replenishes my down payment, and I'm good. It's just a higher version of a multifamily.
Right.
So
do you know anybody who's done that though?
What?
Like those charter numbers, like to charter it.
Yeah,
those real numbers.
I have a company that he does it all the time. He showed me real financial. It was like the pro forma, like you look at a multi.
Yeah,
because
like, you hear mixed shit about it. Some people will say like, "No, it's an expense that'll just milk you dry." And
if you don't charter it, it's gonna suck you dry.
Yeah,
you have to charter it. Like I'm not doing this just to let it sit there.
Right.
I've flown private before on my own. It's expensive as hell.
Right.
It's like 20 grand one way.
30,000 from here to Florida.
Yeah.
Like 20 to 30, depending on like how much notice you give.
Wow.
So 20 is probably the average, but I always do it when I need it last minute.
Right.
That's a lot of money, dude, just to fly one way.
Yeah.
One way.
You fucking rented a minivan, driving back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We walked back, but that's a different story.
We felt good on the way down.
So the caravan coming home.
5 to 7 million, right? Was that how many seats is that?
8.
That's an 8-seater. And is that like more what's the most popular
8.
size? That's the most popular?
I mean, that's the most affordable.
Yeah.
Like otherwise you start going into that other level. That's a whole different.
Yeah.
I think
when
you
you
gotta
said 5 to 7 million,
walk before you run.
Yeah, exactly. And when I heard 5 to 7 million, I thought that was not as much as I thought. Like I thought 15, 20.
Well, that's the big boys.
Yeah.
These are like, have you flown private?
No.
Have any?
I have, yeah.
So like, have you been on an 8-seater?
Yeah, they're pretty comfortable.
They're okay. They're like okay.
They're not
like,
wide. They're kind of
no.
They're
They're
like stand up too tall.
They're okay. Like it's the convenience factor. For me, it's like convenience factor, and then you can lease it out.
Can you go to California with that?
You're stopping a few times.
All right.
It's like 50. That thing ain't going right to California.
All right.
There's like
Ohio,
1,500,
get used to Ohio, get used to whatever's in between Ohio and California, and then go.
Dude, we were gonna take one down to
does the
Nashville.
job,
Remember
though.
Nashville
That's
last year?
perfect.
Yeah, it was good, right? But my buddies, we were all going down.
Shipping.
They got a jet, right? And he was like, "Listen, you got to ship your golf clubs down." I'm like, "Why? It won't fit in the plane." I said, "Dude, I'm gonna fly commercial. I'll meet you there. Fucking thing's too small for me."
It's not big.
Yeah.
But
I don't know how many seats it was, but
What's the next tier? Like a 12-seater?
I don't know. I didn't even look there.
It goes
'cause
by
I
like
just-
miles. Like you can go 1,500 miles in some,
Yeah.
2,500 miles in some. Then there's
Yeah.
like 3,500.
For
Yeah,
me,
'cause-
it's just a symbol of it, dude. Like
Yes,
I'm
100%.
I'm not really like a car guy or you know what I'm saying.
No,
But-
the same. I just want to get like a rough overview because I literally just sent them like, here's a link. Let's start looking at jets. Like I'm trying to put it in our brain, you know?
You put it in your brain. That's
it's
what I'm
on the
doing.
radar.
I'm putting it in my brain, and now I'm putting a date to it where I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, this is like, let's go. You want to level up and play with the big boys? Well, you got to act
Exactly.
like a big boy.
Yeah.
So
You gotta see it first,
imagine the jet. I've already imagined it in my head 1,000 times.
yeah,
How it looks, what it looks like. I'm walking on it, like what that play looks like.
yeah.
So that exactly. So that this was like the first step. Like, all right, let's see it. How much does it cost?
Yeah.
How many people? You know what I mean? Like,
Which, by the way, I'll point out another common denominator of all these successful people we've been talking to is putting the vision of what you want to happen in your mind.
Yeah.
So it starts to become a reality.
That's new for me though.
Dude,
That was like I never knew that shit before. Like that's like a year new for me.
right.
Since I started doing that, my whole game changed. My mentality changed. Like I've always been a hustler, grinder, like a work like a motherfucker, but it changed. I've been calmer. It's like made me calmer. It's made me kind of things have come to fruition that I never thought were possible. And it's because I started to become aware of everything around me and started to imagine, and the power of imagination, the power of like seeing something before and making that reality, like living your transcript.
that's when you
So-
see that anything is possible. Am I wrong?
100%.
At that point in time is when you said like, all right, really anything is possible. What do I want to do?
And that's when
Once you come to that.
that's when the negative mentality or the scarcity mentality that you have in your mind goes away.
Yeah.
And that's a constant battle. Because if you're from an upbringing where everyone thinks everything's negative and everyone's trying to screw you and everything's bad, and
Yeah.
you take all your money and you put in the bank and you just sock it away and you die with a couple $100,000, like if you come from that, that's a constant struggle,
Yeah.
right? How do you get away from that? So this was the exact opposite.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's allowed me to get away from that and to move more towards abundancy.
Yeah. I love that. So, okay. That's my number one thing I talked about on the last episode too. I struggle with that. I'm like a pretty positive person. That's not the issue. I physically struggle with trying to visualize. Like, I don't know if it's because I have ADD, like I can't fucking focus on anything.
Me neither.
Like,
but
that's what I'm saying. Like, you seem like a very similar personality that I have, right? And it's like, how do you do it? Do you like schedule time in the day where you're like, all right, I gotta,
you want the truth?
yeah,
I got a book called The Power of Awareness.
yeah,
I read 2 pages a morning. Before I go in the shower, I read 2 pages. It's 2-page chapters.
Wow.
Anyone can do it. And I read them, and I don't just read them to read them. I read them to pay attention.
okay,
And I stop for a minute and I think about it as it's going through. And I'm like, shoot, I like that. And then I try to implement that through the day. You know what I'm saying? So
nice.
like the other thing I've done, which changed, is I have they call it what, affirmations or whatever.
yeah,
I never believed in that shit. I was like, that's all fucking
So
not.
corny.
That's
but it's
fucking
so real.
corny as
but
shit.
It's so real.
I got one now. I'm happy and grateful that I'm earning in excess of $2 million a month in a calm and confident manner. My kids and my significant other, we live in a very calm space and whatever the rest of it says. But I do that every morning now, and it just puts me at ease. And it's
Wow.
like, I'm going to get there. I don't know how, but that's where I want to get. That's the next step I want to get to.
wow,
And then below that, I write, I'm a billionaire, I'm a billionaire, I'm a billionaire.
Wow.
And I read that 3 times. So I go 10 times on the top, 3 on the bottom.
wow,
And I think that to me sounds corny as hell. And I was not a believer in it. But I don't know, whatever reason,
It's
things
working
started
for
to
you.
change. And like I'm on the path to get there.
yeah.
It's a fact.
So,
yeah.
did you learn that in a particular book, like that particular strategy?
No, I learned that from the group I'm in with your brother.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And
Yeah, so-
without that group, I probably would have never changed. That changed my...
No, when you see other people, real actual people who
That's
have real actual things that they do and businesses that they run and whatever, and they believe in it wholeheartedly,
Right.
and you see what it's done for them in a small amount of time,
Mm-hmm.
it's impossible not to believe. And there's fucking science behind it too.
Right.
And Miami validated it for me.
And Miami was the
That
stamp, yeah.
validated it for me because I was like, all right, I'm going to do it because it's something different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do it because what I'm doing right now is going to get me to a plateau. And we already know that. And it's great. And a lot of people will be happy with it, but I'm not happy. I'm fucking bored.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I got to do something else. And I said, let me go see who these other people are. And if they're all fucking numbnuts, I'm going to say, you know what? I'm all set with this shit. I'm just going to figure out my way. But I went there and I was like, all right, these people are real people.
Mm-hmm.
Number one. Number two, they've all done very well.
Yep.
And I'm probably like right in the middle. I'm
Right.
like in the middle of success versus where the rest of these people are. I'm kind of like middle to lower end.
Yep.
So I need to level up.
Yep.
So whatever the fuck they're doing, I got to do it.
Yep. Love that.
There's a perspective thing. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you get so comfortable in your own little like micro economy and you think you're biggest out of your friend
The
group,
big
biggest
fish
out of
in a
your
small
friend.
pond. Yeah.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you put yourself in a bigger pond. You go to Miami or you meet with guys like our friend Zane, for example, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Money
the other
is
thing. it
fucking
did.
crazy.
Then there was some billionaires in the group too, and the common thread of those billionaires is this mindset.
Right.
Right.
I've only met a few billionaires, but anyone I've ever met thinks this way.
So Wednesday, I went to a Celtics game with a billionaire.
Mm.
He's worth $9 billion.
Wow.
Regular fucking Joe, normal guy, owns a title company. I had a conversation Wednesday. He invited me to the box. He heard about me. He's gonna get into real estate stuff, and he was like, "I want to do stuff with you." 5 years ago, I would have been drooling on myself, like couldn't talk, not fucking able to say a sentence, like not know what to say, super awkward, getting fucked up, drinking. Didn't have one drink. Had an amazing conversation with him. Played it so nicely in the sense that I was like, look, I'm going to not text this guy tomorrow. I'm going to be the hot girl. I ain't texting this motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait. 11 o'clock in the next morning. Hey, last night was awesome. When can you meet next week?
He texted you.
Correct. So I didn't give him my number. I was like, I ain't giving him my number either. I'm going to fucking chill. I'm going to.
Hot girl shit for real.
Right.
Played
That's
the
what
whole
it
game.
is. I played the game. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm not being a fanboy. I'm not a fanboy.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking hanging on this dude's coattails. I appreciate what he's done. I respect the hell out of what this man's done. But I need him to understand that I'm here.
I'm a
Right.
player. Yeah.
I'm a player too. Like I'm ready. I just didn't get there yet. But I'm there. I'm just gonna get there. So we're gonna meet up this week, Tuesday this week. I got like 4 meetings in a row, 4 of my business partners with him, and I think we're gonna make shit happen.
Wow.
And he's a powerful player in that beat range. He's a billionaire.
Yeah.
Fuck. If I can learn from a billionaire to become a billionaire, I'm gonna learn.
Right.
What was he like, personality wise?
Very similar to me. Like he was aggressive, takes risks, smart, but standoffish to a lot of people that he kind of understood were just trying to like milk him, but had made mistakes and just like ready to go. Still fired up, still ready to go.
Yeah.
But he's one mistake away from being a negative $9 billion. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
he's a gambler. He's a risk taker.
Yeah.
You know, so
Shooting.
like, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
We're all kind of got to have a little bit of that in you.
Yeah, you need it.
But I think he's, kind of the person I could do stuff with.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like since you've been really focusing on like your mentality and stuff, like the game is like slowing down for you. know?
You just hit it right on the
Yeah.
head. When I take sports all the time.
Yeah.
I used to referee college basketball and high school. When I would go from a high school game to a college game, the game was so fast. I was like, holy shit, I can't do this. The point when the game slowed down, I got really good. My life slowed down.
Right.
My jobs, my opportunities, my businesses, everything started to slow down. So when stuff slows down, you can think better.
Right.
And when you can think better, if you're intelligent enough and you have the balls and you have the ability to make decisions, you make better decisions. So
Right.
everything's slowing down.
You can see things clearly.
Oh, you can see
steps
clear.
ahead. You can see what's happening.
You already see, like I already see 4 steps beyond where step 1 is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's not like 1 and then, oh shit, 2, 3, 4 just no, I already knew 2, 3, 4 were going to happen.
Right.
Like I'm ready for 4.
Right.
You know,
That's
whether
awesome.
it's good or bad, I'm ready for 4.
That's awesome.
So it definitely slowed down.
So on that thread, what do you think's happening, in the real estate market? What's happening? What's this year
I
going to
think
bring?
this year is going to be a tough year for a lot of agents and mortgage brokers because supply is so low. And I don't think supply is going to change. I think supply stays where it is. There's no catalyst to push it further. There's no catalyst that's going to make supply increase by leaps and bounds. The market basically depends on the weather out here. It hasn't snowed. It hasn't been really cold.
Right.
And we haven't seen an increase in supply.
Right.
So spring moved forward, but the market didn't move with it.
Right.
So to me, you're going to see a lot more of what we saw last year. So I think I'll be fine. I think market share by people that are big players will take share.
Yeah.
I think some of the people that can't make it, they're going to unfortunately have to move into other positions.
Yeah.
And get part-time jobs or something.
Yeah.
But the strong will survive. And if you're doing the right things and you're focused on your business and you're focused on investing in it, you'll be fine.
Yeah. I still we've been putting offers on some things. We've been getting all of a sudden there's multiple offers on shit.
Again, it's back.
What the fuck is that?
It's back because rates went up. It didn't scare that many people away.
Right.
It scared people it gave like a rate shock.
Right.
2 months later, we're back.
Right.
And there's nothing to buy.
Just readjust the numbers.
Supply overshoots rates.
Right.
So because supply is so low, it doesn't matter what happens with rates.
Right.
Rates are irrelevant unless they hit double digits. You
Right.
stay 6, 7, 5%, we're fine.
Right.
So what you're saying is prices aren't going to come down.
No, they're not.
Because of supply is so low.
Well, supply. Supply is a big factor.
But supply for like single family, multifamily, or just supply in general for all real estate?
Single, multi, commercial is gonna be indicative of what those mom and pops do in those leases. Like,
Right.
can they survive? Are we in a true recession, or is that just a man-made bullshit news
Right.
media recession?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that we're in the restaurants,
Okay.
meal delivery. So we see it, right? And the demand has been there. People are still going out to
I don't
dinner.
know what recession we're watching because I never seen a recession like this. People buy shit all the time.
Right,
The
no,
malls,
people-
the
right.
everywhere, food, restaurants. I just came back from Orlando with my kids in December.
Yeah.
Fucking insane, dude. No recession.
Right, exactly.
People are throwing money around.
The only
thing
question is people
the
putting on
layoffs.
credit? No.
The credit
A
card.
credit
people
card.
putting on
I
credit
mean, that's
card?
probably it, but they do that no matter what.
Right, exactly.
Recession is just 2 consecutive quarters of GDP that go down. That
Right.
doesn't mean we're going into a depression.
Right, exactly.
It's not the end of the world. It means we had inflated numbers and they came down a little bit.
Exactly. That's how I see it
But
too.
people will fucking put everything on credit
Right.
cards.
So to your point, the layoffs, right? But
That
who's getting
scared me
laid
a little
off?
bit.
Who's getting laid off?
I mean,
Tech people?
A lot of drivers from Amazon, HubSpot, PayPal.
Amazon? No, it wasn't drivers. It was
It was
A
like,
a mix-
very,
it was a mixed
very
batch.
small percentage of
I think
labor
people
workers.
are just trimming fat.
Trimming fat.
in
That's
case-
what-
Because they
to-
overhired.
In,
Well,
no, in
yeah.
case it is real. It's like no matter what, let's just trim.
They're trimming out the unnecessary middle managers and shit like that.
Exactly.
And
That
a
they
lot
don't
of it's
need
to do with
anyway.
like the remote worker thing, like
Just
he
gonna
was
say
saying
that.
about that.
That's the
They're
key.
seeing
Like,
how
you think
much
that?
actual fluff and bullshit that, dude, there are some tech people that I was reading about. They work for Facebook, Google, and fucking the other one, all with full-time salaries. With
Yeah,
all
that's
three,
a bunch of
right?
bullshit, yeah.
Because everyone is
that's bullshit.
everyone
they're triple dipping.
Yeah.
exactly. Everyone figured out how to manipulate their managers to do the least amount of work to get the most
Well,
amount of pay.
I will tell you this from being in finance for 10 years. 75% of people don't do shit.
Exactly.
Fact.
Yo, don't do shit.
Yeah, yeah.
The manager just hopes that his staff doesn't know he does shit, and the staff hopes the manager doesn't know they do
Yeah,
shit.
exactly.
No one
It's a
does
big
shit.
secret. Everyone's like, you don't say anything.
And then here's the other thing is because no one actually owns the company because it's usually a publicly traded or a
Right.
bigger
Right.
firm.
Nobody cares.
gives a fuck.
There's
Yeah, so
nobody that
no-
actually cares.
Nobody cares and nobody does shit, but yet you still have jobs. Like it's
Yeah.
the biggest scam in the world. It's a
Right.
fucking scam.
It's so true.
It's crazy.
And you become a professional at like trying to pretend
You play-
show that you're busy.
You're a professional actor of
Exactly.
acting that I'm doing something.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was really good at it. I had both screens open at all times, and I knew when somebody walked by, I had to fucking
An email, yeah.
I had that one to go on the email.
Yeah.
Down the other one. But I mean, I wasn't the only one.
Right.
People take long lunches. They leave early. They're coming late. Oh, there's birthday cakes every other day.
I
Like,
can't even imagine. Now throw the remote access.
oh, forget it. Now
aren't
and
doing
fucking
shit.
Tahiti.
zero.
Yeah,
Nothing.
Tahiti on there,
Fucking
yeah.
nothing.
Right.
Zero.
So the fact that they got laid off, I think it's just cutting out that bullshit and getting to the people who actually produce.
Which you're gonna find is like 10%. There's not many.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of these companies can get by with very few people.
Right. The thing you got to be concerned about is when contractors, plumbers, electricians, regular blue collar people.
They're going nowhere. though.
Right.
Yeah,
So
they're
that's
gonna-
what I'm saying. In a recession, those are the people you got to worry about because those are the people who have mortgages. The other ones do too, but they're the working people, right?
Right.
They're paying rent, they're paying mortgage. There's a whole trickle down effect. They're the ones going out. That's
But to your point there, just like we talk about real estate prices not going down, I think to the point there is that because there's no competition, there's not a lot of plumbers.
Right,
There's not a lot
exactly.
of electricians.
Right.
Your kids aren't growing up to be electricians anymore.
Right,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying? So like at the end of the day, because there's no other competition, they're just getting work.
Right.
They're not even good.
Exactly.
They don't have to be
90% of
good.
them
Exactly.
suck.
And they could
That's-
charge
they're either
whatever the hell
drug-
they want
they-
too.
huh?
They could charge
Whatever
whatever.
the fuck. What are you gonna do?
Who's
you
gonna
gotta,
do it?
you guys, you need to fix something. You're gonna go hire
crazy.
someone. You have one person that picked up the phone.
Right.
It's crazy.
What are you gonna do?
It's
Pay the
crazy.
mother,fucker.
Yeah, exactly.
Get bent over and pay them. It is
Right.
what it
But
is.
what's I'm curious to see what happens with that type of position long term. Like who's going to be doing the cooking? Who's going to be the mechanic?
I know.
Who's going to do it?
I think well, I don't know. It's really questionable because I think college and like is going to be, it's either going to go into like a specific career, you know, where like you're a lawyer or a doctor or something like that. You're going to be a business person, like entrepreneur, or you're going to be like a trade.
A tradesman. I think that's the play.
Yeah.
Fuck the college shit. The
Exactly.
only thing I would say about college, though, I wouldn't get rid of it totally. I would just make it a cheaper extension of high school.
Right.
I'd bring the numbers way down, and I'd have 2 levels. There'd either be a university for the state, like a UMass, and then a Harvard. You either got in Harvard or you got in UMass.
Right.
All that other bullshit in the middle
Yeah.
does nothing.
Exactly.
Have these monstrosity colleges for like the state schools where you pay state tuition,
Yeah.
and then have the prestigious school.
Right.
Like there's no difference between Endicott.
Zero.
Where'd you-
I went to Elms,
Yeah.
Endicott. All 3 of us got the same shit.
Yeah,
all
exactly.
3 of us are dumb as the same and smart as the
Yeah,
same.
no,
I
that
just
Doesn't
like the way
fucking-
like the campus looked when I was
That was
Same,
17.
Yeah.
same.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like,
and then
oh, it's
my
right next
number
to
was
the
like,
water.
how many girls versus guys are here? And I
Exactly.
picked the one. Okay, I can play ball at 5 schools, but this one has a 5-to-1 girl-guy
Yeah, what's the
ratio.
ratio?
I went to girl. I picked that one. Like,
Yeah, same.
what the fuck? I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
You're 17 years old trying to
Right.
I learned actually. I went to school for fucking finance. I learned.
Zero, dude. I
I didn't learn one
graduated.
thing.
I am embarrassed to say this. I graduated with an accounting degree with straight A's, like 4.0. First job interview, they're like, "Do you know what a financial statement is?" "What's that?" I said.
Oh my
Bro,
God.
I was in accounting for 4 years. I didn't pay
I
attention.
cannot see you as an accountant, dude.
I hated it.
Are you kidding? That's literally the polar opposite of like what you were supposed to do.
That's what I was told I was supposed to do, though.
I graduated
crazy.
with the 4-year with liberal studies.
No,
No, you didn't.
That's a good-
Wow.
Yes, I never declared. I just was.
You just
fucking-
kept going.
I was just.
What a loser.
I was just taking random.
You know what?
shit
Though, what's
the
the
whole
difference,
time.
dude?
It's no
What's the
different.
Yeah,
He knew just as much as I knew.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
no different.
You probably knew more than him about accounting.
Absolutely.
I took like, I just
Absolutely.
took like the 101 courses all throughout of each thing. Like I
But
was.
think
in,
about if they did that though, and they had the really high level Ivy, and then just fucking
Yeah.
Everyone else.
everyone else.
I think we're going to see a big shift in the education system.
yeah,
I think
some
like
gotta
people
get- it's
know
too
it. Like
expensive.
60,000 years. Like, what are you actually
Wow,
getting
it's
out of it? I
crazy.
think there's going to be a shift.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like even my kids, like the speech we got from mom and dad was like, "You have to go to college.
Same.
There's no chance."
You
I
have a
didn't even-
choice. You
I
didn't
didn't
have a
want
choice.
to. I wanted just to go work with my dad, right? And she was like, my mother filled out my applications and sent them in, like forged my signatures,
Same,
like, the
dude.
whole thing. Like I did not.
But they didn't know. You can't blame.
No, I
them.
don't blame him at
The
all.
thing is, like, you can't look at that and say that's their fault. They didn't know any better. We know better.
Right.
We
Right.
now, my kids, I know better.
Right.
Now my kids, now I have an ex-wife, so it's a different situation.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as I can get her to play ball and the same thing, like we're gonna make sure that these kids go to what fits them.
Exactly.
And what's gonna be the best use for them going forward. We're not just paying for them to go to Harvard and they're gonna be a fucking school teacher.
Exactly.
That's fucking insanity.
Exactly. Exactly.
They will, I'll be paying. It's stupid.
Yeah.
I
exactly.
rather send. I was telling him the last episode. Like, you get more. I got more out of a mastermind in like fucking
Yes.
a weekend than 4 years of school at Sacred Heart University.
Yes.
And like, you know,
No, it's about the
But the
network.
one thing is you do mature.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
it does give you the ability to live on your own. So
That 4
yeah.
years
for
is
that,
crucial.
that 4 years for your personal development is very important.
100%.
So I don't think you get rid
That's
of
why
it.
I never knock the college
I
experience.
agree.
Just
Yeah,
because
worth
that's like
it.
I can't
It
say
was the
anything
best
about
4 years of my
I had the
life.
best 4 years of my life.
It's a great 4 years, dude. What would I be like if you just plucked that 4 years out of my life? I have no idea.
So I'd be careful with that statement. You heard I didn't say that. Right? You all said the same thing. You all said it was the best 4 years of your life.
yeah,
Really think about that.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, is it? Yeah,
Not it was maybe the most fun and carefree
Yeah,
4
most
years.
carefree.
So you got to be careful because I know you guys aren't really like that,
yeah.
but there's some people that are really like that.
Oh, yeah.
right.
That say high school's the best 4 years of their life,
Right.
and unfortunately it was.
Right.
But I know from you three, from what you all do, that's bullshit.
Right.
Yeah.
that's not the best 4 years of your life. That's the most carefree 4 years.
Carefree's the
where you
word.
could do whatever you want of your life.
Right.
Because I would
With
agree
little
with that.
repercussion.
With little stress and little exactly.
Exactly.
I can shit on the floor and no,
where the least amount of accountability is.
Right.
But I don't think that's if that is the best 4 years of your life.
Yeah.
Sad.
I'm sorry.
It's sad.
not
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right. I feel bad.
Yeah.
So just wanted to. I didn't say
Good
that.
check on
Yeah.
that.
No,
Right.
good check,
And
good
I
check.
didn't say it on purpose because I
Respect
think
that.
people don't. When
It's
they
true.
say that shit, like there's two ways to say that. Bullshit, which you guys were. You're not. It's not true.
Yeah.
Because you didn't realize it. And some people really believe that.
Right.
And
So true.
Just there's like two different people.
So
Yeah.
true.
Just be
That's a
careful
fact.
with that.
Yeah. That's good.
Touche.
We gotta take that back out of the universe.
Costa, cut that
cut it
out.
out.
Will you
Yeah.
Cut that shit out,
fucking
bro.
thing? Yeah.
How much more time? I gotta fucking
Yeah, no, we
piss
gotta
my
roll.
balls off.
All right, guys, this is a great episode. Kyle's got to go make some fucking money.
Let's go. Let's get. We still need the last question.
Oh, last question. What is the best advice that you've gotten or that you can give to the people listening?
The best advice that I would give you is anything is possible. As corny as it sounds, it's 100% true, but you need to find what works for you.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how to get there. I can't tell you what profession to do. I can't tell you how to be a good realtor. I can't tell you how to be a good businessman or woman. You got to figure that shit out. But learn from what you see and take a little bit of everything and put it together.
Really
okay.
good advice.
Take that.
Love that. All right, great episode today. Kyle's got to go make some fucking money.
That's right.
All right,
I
baby.
pay for my gambling debt.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thanks,
See you
man.
next time.